I'm going to range that tree, range that tree, range that tree. But then what if I forget? You know, you ever looked at a 4-pin sight and thought you were on the 30-yard pin, turns out you was on the 40-yard pin, shot 10 foot over her back? Well, yeah, we make mistakes, you know. We forget. Ever happened? It happened to me.
Yeah.
You forget. So you range as many targets as you can, and you know, if you guess wrong, the faster and flatter that arrow's flying, the more likely you're still going to make a good hit. So yeah, I think for southeastern whitetails, I just don't see the reason. I don't see the need in the big heavy thing. But it really comes down to what you're confident with. You know, what can you hit the target with, and then what broadhead did you kill them with last year? Why do we all want to change?
Mark Smith, it's been a long time coming, dude.
What's happening, guys?
Dude, man, we go way back. This has been literally a long time coming. It's a little different today. We're not in the studio. We're in Alabama, Birmingham's beloved hunting store, Mark's Outdoors.
That's right.
Been coming here since I was a little bitty kid, man.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of money in the store.
So have I. Try working here.
You get that employee discount.
Oh yeah.
So Mark, you've been mentioned on the show quite a bit over the years.
Really?
Yeah, because, you know, we used to work together back in the Field and Stream days.
I thought maybe people asking you questions about what a goofball that Mark's got.
They're like, hey, I don't know about that guy behind the bow counter at Mark's. Yeah. I just don't know.
Well, there are days you come in here, you get the wrong Mark. Then other days you come in and I'm the sweet. Yeah, let me help you out.
Oh, we're talking about it.
Today we're talking about the wrong Mark.
We're talking about the wrong Mark. There you go. We're getting the stories today.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been talking about doing this for a couple years now because I think it was last year you were like, why don't we do a preseason episode? Talk about just getting ready for season, especially from an archery perspective. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And then we got real busy and didn't make it happen.
We all do, yeah.
But this year we're making it happen. So I'm excited to talk about it. Jacob, you excited?
I'm beyond excited. I'm more excited about anything when it comes to the stories, the good, bad, and ugly.
Oh, let me tell you.
And we're not going to name any names, but I got to stop moving. This chair is real comfortable.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, sit in these blind chairs so all the YouTube viewers can see it.
I get an employee discount. I'll get you one.
Oh, well, there you go. But again, like working in an archery department, especially as long as you have, because you've owned your own business and I don't know how long you've been an archery tech, which we're going to ask you in just a little bit.
Okay.
But you deal with so many different types of people. People brand new to archery, people have been doing it for a long time, but just because someone's been doing it for a long time doesn't mean they're
sometimes that's the worst.
Yeah, well versed and everything. And I'm interested in hearing some of those stories, just from a kind of entertainment standpoint, but also maybe what you should ask a bow tech when you're going in, instead of maybe thinking you have all the answers beforehand, and then how you should handle those conversations when you try and get work done on a bow, or you're asked about arrow setups. We already got questions coming about arrow setups. But Mark, what is your background when it comes to being a bow tech or working on bows and archery equipment?
Well, I started shooting bows when I was a little kid. I bought my first bow from Herder's, the Herder's catalog, which is what Cabela's turned into. I don't know if Herder's are still there, but I saved up my money, and I was 8 or I think I was 9 when I finally got it. I've still got the bow too. Little Herder's recurve, 35 pounds, and man, I had so much fun with that. But I never hunted with it. It was just out in the backyard. We had drawn cowboys and Indians on our target that we made out of styrofoam, and we would run by on our bikes and shoot, which was just so stupid. But you know, I'm sitting here by the grace of God because I've done so many dumb things. I probably should be in the ground somewhere. But shooting a bow has just been something that I've enjoyed doing since then. And own my own business. I've run martial arts schools for years, had a CrossFit gym. But hunting and fishing and archery specifically has always been part of that. I started learning how to do it about 20 years ago when I had gotten a new bow for, I believe, as our anniversary. My wife got it for me. So went down, and I won't tell you where, won't tell you who. I know the guy that did it, set my bow up for me. So I'm on the back deck, and I take that first shot. Wow, that's sweet. And the second shot, pow! D-loop came untied, and I punched myself right square in the mouth. I sit there wiping blood, and I said, well, that's the last time somebody does that. And it was something I need to be able to do this for myself. I've got a weapon. I need to be able to take care of it myself. So a friend of mine had a pawn shop, and he was probably the most outdoor knowledgeable person I ever met. So I just kind of hung around with him and helped him do things. Learned how to do that. And then I had a lot of students that bow hunted, and I would ask them, would you trust me to do your bow? Yes, sir. Well, I trust you with my kids, so certainly I'll trust you with my bow. And there are guys that come in here that would trust me with their kids before they would trust me with their bow. You ain't touching my bow. But so that's kind of how I learned. But it's different when you tune or help or learn and do your bow and other people's bow, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 bows within a year. 10 a day is a different deal. 10 a day, 20 in a few days, having to remember, how do I do a D-loop? There wasn't no YouTube back then. You had to sit there and fiddle with it for a good 30 minutes when you go, okay, now I remember how. But, I do it in my sleep now because tying D-loops and tying peeps and all that kind of stuff, you don't even think about it anymore.
So you've been doing it for a long time now. Over that, your passion, I do want to talk about your passion for archery, because that's one thing I've known about you ever since I met you through Andrew. Mm-hmm. And you've known Andrew longer than I've known Andrew. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of...
actually, that's true.
It's kind of interesting because y'all used to work together, which we need to tell that story because I want to know... Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I want to know what you thought about young Andrew compared to...
Oh, no.
But through that endeavor of, you injuring, you punch yourself in the face, try and draw the bow back, to like learning how to tie D-loop, to start working on buddies' bows, to then, at some point making it where it's kind of a career for you.
Yeah.
Where did your passion for archery, was it out of straight necessity, or was it just your passion for archery that made you want to do that?
I think it was God's providence, partly, because I was without going into a whole lot of detail about the martial arts thing, there was a lot of things. We belonged to a large organization, and there was some things going on that, it didn't hit me right. And I'm not casting aspersions on anyone or anything, but I had just had knee surgery number 8 and said, and CrossFit was really where my heart had begun to go. And I loved doing CrossFit. And so I was really focused on my CrossFit gym. So my Taekwondo school, I had other people running. I had 3, had other people managing those for me. And so CrossFit had become something, it felt like my Taekwondo training used to. And I had a friend that at the time, he's the one that really drove my passion, not just for archery, but for hunting. So with him and getting him, and he and I growing closer and hunting together, going to Colorado year after year after year, and doing all that kind of thing was part of what had that clicking in my mind. I started thinking, is there something else out there I could do besides just martial arts? Because my entire life was, I did martial arts because I had to. I have to do this. I get up in the morning and I can't wait to teach. I can't wait to run my school. I can't wait to talk about it. That's why I did it. And archery has always been there, So I'm very, very blessed that God guided me from something that I love to do, that I must do, into something that I was already doing and loved to do, and now I still get to do the same thing I was doing before, help people get what they want. When you brought your child to me in a Taekwondo class, you wanted your child to learn discipline, to be physically fit, to be able to defend themselves, and now you come to me with your bow. I need this bow tuned, I need it fixed, I need you to give me some advice and some recommendations so I can go and make my dream hunt come true. That's a lot of responsibility for both of those. I feel the same responsibility for you having a successful hunt as I did for your child having a successful tournament or testing or whatever in them.
Very cool. All right, now we get meat and potatoes, which is you used to work with Andrew.
Yeah.
And I've never really straight up asked you this, but I want to know. I'm sure,
Really? Okay.
Yeah, the audience probably wants to know too.
Oh, I'm sure.
So you used to work with Andrew at a local shop, and I wanted to know, because he worked in the boat department, you worked in the boat department. Mm-hmm. What was your impression of young Andrew when y'all were working together?
Oof. So when Field and Stream was opening up, there was a lot of young Andrews. And they were...
Dime a dozen.
Let me tell you, at that point, yes, when I walked in the door and they hired me, and at the time, it's kind of strange because they said, well, we need a bow expert. I said, listen, I'm an expert on my stuff. I'm just telling you. I just want to be straight up with you. They're like, no. We need you. So I come in, and I think I'm just going to be in with a bunch of other guys, and we're all going to be doing things. And it was pretty clear right off the bat that these guys were wet behind the ears and awful green. And I don't know that I want them doing a whole lot of archery. There's a whole lot of feeders and ground blinds and targets and all kind of stuff y'all can deal with. Let me deal with these crossbows and these bows before, so I can fit. And being a martial arts instructor as long as I've been, it doesn't take me long to figure out who to put where and who I can depend on and who I need to keep my eye on in a different way. Andrew and Andy, if you remember Andy.
Oh, yeah.
Andy and Andrew both stuck out to me immediately, and for different reasons. But as the store got closer and closer to opening, I was more and more sure I was right. And I ain't blowing smoke, because anybody that has been in here that I have talked about y'all's podcast with has heard me say this. Andrew was the most outdoor knowledgeable young person that I had come across since I was a young person. He knew more and had hands-on experience with more stuff than any of them other guys. Now, them other guys bow hunted. This guy was a woodsman. This guy was somebody who was serious about that whole world of hunting, outdoorsman. He wasn't just about getting a bow and going and killing stuff, and that was very obvious. And one of the things that made me know that was when we first opened, we had a trapping section. Nobody traps. Nobody. I'm the only one in the store that knows how to trap. Oh no. I'm standing there, and there's an older gentleman, and Andrew is laying out how to do a coon set for this guy, and I'm like, okay, I knew I was right. So hearing those kind of things, and again, I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not trying to pump you up or anything, but that's exactly my first impressions of Andrew. My first impression of Jacob was, I think, him handing me some Zaxby's through the window.
Really? Yeah.
I forgot about that. Dude. I forgot about that.
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember that?
No. You know how many people I gave Zaxby's through the window when I was in college?
Probably a lot.
A lot.
A lot. Because you had come in the store and he had introduced me to him. And I think this was at the point when you may have already started talking, we want to do a podcast. So I remembered, because I had talked to Andrew, I want to do a YouTube channel, because look at all this stuff here. I could review this stuff and not have to buy it. And then just start my YouTube channel. And I remember coming through the drive-thru and went, "Hey, podcast dude, how's it going? Oh, here's your chicken."
Slinging them chicken fingers.
It was great.
Dude, that is hilarious. Man.
I've never told stories about that, yeah, because I worked at Zaxby's there in college. I had a guy, and it's probably the 150, Highway 150 location you came through. I had a guy one time, I was sitting there, and I looked over, and he had a Smith & Wesson revolver. I think it's the 629 model, and it was a revolver sitting in his front seat, just sitting there. And I was like, that's kind of weird, but I'm just going to bring it to attention, because clearly he don't think I can see it, or he don't care I can see it. And I brought it to his attention. He was like, oh, like clearly he should have had it in a holster, and he kind of forgot about it.
Yeah.
He got all nervous and like for whatever reason. And I brought it up to him. I'm like, because there's no
He's like, give me all your chicken fingers.
sketch people would come by, but yeah, that's interesting. Now I don't remember that, but dang, Mark,
Man, that's funny.
throwback.
Yeah, dude. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
That means a lot.
Absolutely.
You know, when I first started working there, I remember us talking about YouTube and everything because we had, like, especially, man, when you were working there on a Saturday evening and Bama was playing.
Oh, man.
I mean, like, there's just nothing to do. Like,
Yeah.
there's nobody in the store.
Ghost town.
Yeah, and we'd be sitting there talking about YouTube and starting something, and we were both like, man, we should start something one day, and da-da-da-da-da. Actually, Jacob came in one time, and he wasted like 3 hours with me. Like, he just came in and talked to me for like 3 hours trying to get me to drop out of college. Because he dropped out of college, or he was getting ready to. He's like, you should drop out too. We should both go work for this place. And but that's kind of where it started. You know, one thing that you said to me years ago, you probably don't even remember saying this, but you talked about going from owning your own businesses to going and working in a space like that retail place that we're working at.
Yeah.
And you're like, the number one thing that surprised me about this is how easy it is to excel
Yeah.
because no one tries.
No one tries. All they're worried about, yeah. And I've tried to teach my granddaughter that too. Honey, if you'll just kind of work hard, you will blow everybody out of the water. Because, yeah, no, people were there just for a paycheck. You and I were there because we loved that thing. We loved hunting. The guys in fishing, they loved fishing. But it seems like everything in between was just, I need a job.
Yep.
But and like I said, there was some people we worked with that just needed a job. But you and I, Andy, and some of the gun guys were pretty serious about guns. But the fishing guys were pretty serious about fishing. But most everybody else they were just there for a job.
Yeah, I still talk to Andy from time to time, and Tom too.
I go to church with Andy. He was in here the other day.
Oh, nice.
His brother actually came in today too.
Great guy. Man, so working in the bow shop back then was interesting. You know, I say that I'll talk about it on the podcast. I'm like, yeah, I worked in a bow shop, and people get the wrong idea. I tied in peep sights and did D loops. I didn't do like all the super in depth stuff.
Yeah,
like you did. And dude, we had some catastrophes there with crossbows and bows exploding from time to time.
Yeah.
You know, people dry fire and everything.
That's what we want to know. That's why we're here. That's the real reason why we're here.
That was one of the things that we wanted to open it with. We're going to do some questions. We're going to get to like archery questions and everything. But this is just the fun part of the podcast.
Okay.
We're going to get through the fun part, and then we're going to talk questions. We were talking about it the other day. Probably when I was working there, the number one reason that someone would come in with a dry-fired bow, and correct me, I'm curious if you think this was the number one reason. The number one reason was just people just drawing their bow for no reason. No arrow in it, drawing it with their fingers, just showing people like, yeah, this is my bow, pop, you know, and they can't hold it back with their fingers with that string angle, or they pull it back with a release and they just accidentally hit the release, and then, and then bam, you gotta go to the bow shop. Is that what you saw?
Oh yeah. I've done this 100 times. Yeah, but the 101 time you let it go, you ding dong. Don't do that. Don't pull the bow back without an arrow in it. Now, I've got safety releases, so you could do that. But even then, I still get a little sketchy because I don't know who tied that D-loop for you. And that's what started my whole journey here, was a bad D-loop. Now, thank goodness I've not had that same thing happen, but I had a guy like that come in, big old guy. I mean, this guy was 6'4", good kid, and we're over there working, and I mean, we're in the weeds. And he had an older Matthews, and he had come in and had to get a string put on it. So he comes in, he goes, what do I need to do? I said, just go around there to the service counter, and they'll write you up and just let them know what color you want, and I'll get that string on the way. So I think it was like a Conquest, which is a real long axle-to-axle old Matthews bow. So he gets it and comes back, and we draw it, and I get his peep set for him, and he comes back in the next day. He goes, when we tied that peep in yesterday, we were using that safety release, and I wanted to use mine because I used a thumb. I went, well, I've got a thumb safety. He goes, no, I want to use this one. I went, okay, but he goes, no, I won't do it. Okay. So now there's people around. He draws the bow back. I said, how's that? He said, yeah, moved it a little bit. I said, all right, let's draw it again. So he draws it again. He said, that's pretty close. I moved it up a little bit again. And I said, now this time, as you draw, close your eyes, draw, get your anchor, now open, and we'll see if we got it. So he draws back, opens his eyes. He goes, that's perfect. Pop! And hit that trigger just as clean as you please. Boom! It blows to pieces. He's standing there. Lady over here that Robbie's working on her bow, she does this. The monkey tail flies off right by Robbie's ear, and this kid's standing here with this bow, blown to pieces, stuff hanging off of it, looks like a tree covered with moss. And he looks at me and goes, service counter? Service counter. Luckily, all it was the string, believe it or not. So we fixed that up for him.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, when and we've got signs up. Of course, nobody reads, but they're going to pull that bow back. But I think we've had, gosh, I guess in the last 5, because of how I've got the bow set up now, it's not really an issue. But even in where we worked, you had the little orange cable locks. Mm-hmm. Well, the way they put them on there doesn't work. People just pull right past that and dry fire them then. But yeah, dry fire. And one of the things that people, they say, well, I didn't dry fire it. And I say, well, but it got dry fired because here's what happened. I see your arrows. Your arrows have little marks down the side. So what you were doing was you were aiming at one dot and seeing what kind of group you could get. Yeah, how did you know? Well, because I see your arrows. So what happened was your arrow hit that knock and weakened it. Doesn't necessarily break it, but weakened it. So now when you draw and you shoot, that knock, instead of your 2 little knocks sitting there, whoop, one just goes away. Yeah, because when I shot, my arrow just kind of fell off. Yeah, because you dry fired the bow. Not purposely, it's not your fault, not judging, but the bow got dry fired and service counter.
So that's actually something interesting. Is that something that's maybe you shouldn't always focus about shooting super tight groups like that from like just damaging your equipment,
especially with a crossbow. I was doing a video of the one of the Excalibur crossbows. I'm so glad I had the video on because I was going, let's see what kind of group we can get. And sure enough, centered one of those bolts. The third one from 50 yards, centered it. I said, I'm so glad because I want to reiterate, especially with a crossbow, don't shoot the same dot. All you're doing is busting arrows. Now, I got plenty of arrows. You come buy some more. But there's just no sense in it. Shoot different dots. So what we get in our mind that we want to do that group, I want to see what kind of tight group. Okay, do that and don't do it anymore because you are going to beat your arrows to death. And, that first time you get that Robin Hood, you go, yes. And then the next time you go, yeah, that's $40 worth of arrows I just destroyed.
There's more of you guys getting into saddle hunting than ever before, and a common question we always get is how do you get comfortable in a saddle? Because there's so many moving parts. And today I'm gonna give you 3 of the best tips that I have for getting comfortable in the saddle after doing this for about 8.5 years. Number 1 is tether height. Setting your tether at the right height is gonna give you extreme comfort, but this is one big reason why you need to practice with it. I like mine right at nose level when I'm standing on the platform. The other is your bridge length. Having an adjustable bridge on your saddle makes it extremely comfortable to fine tune that comfort, and I like mine extended out almost all the way. The third is how you sit in your saddle. Some people like the saddle sitting just below the belt line, which I've done in some saddles in the past. That made it more comfortable. Some are right at the belt line and some are a little bit above the belt line. Now, having a very comfortable saddle makes it really easy to do all this stuff with less adjustment. And the Lone Star saddle from Latitude Outdoors is that saddle for me personally. I really like the saddle, and I really like the hip pinch reduction system that's built into the saddle that gives me a lot more comfort all day long with less adjustments needed. If you want to check out the Lone Star saddle from Latitude Outdoors, you can go to latitudeoutdoors.com for more information.
One thing we talk about with almost every guest on this show is map scouting. My favorite map scouting tool is Lidar. If you're unfamiliar, Lidar is basically like a 3D scan of the Earth's surface. I like to say it kind of takes away all the surprises. Lidar is now available on OnX Hunt on their topography map. If you go to your app right now, click on the topography map, you can flip on that Lidar feature and boom, it's going to come on and you're going to see what I'm talking about. The Lidar is going to allow you to see things that are normally hidden from view. This might be ditches, bends and creeks, rocks, old road beds. I personally love old road beds because deer like to walk them. They're great places to find scrapes. They're great camera locations. And before, an old roadbed or an old logging road might be something that you kind of happen upon while you're out scouting or hunting. Well, now with the Lidar, before I go into an area, I can turn on that Lidar and I can see exactly where those roadbeds are. Even old logging roads from the 1930s, you can still see them on there. So that allows me to go straight to those spots and check them out. It's just an incredibly helpful tool, and it's available now on OnX Hunt. And hey, if you want to get 20% off your OnX Elite membership, you can use the promo code Southern. Like I said, it's going to save you 20%. Go check out that Lidar feature. You'll be glad you did. Know where you stand with OnX Hunt. Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. I didn't think about the knock cracking. I've never had that happen to me before. Probably because I don't shoot that tight of grip.
I've seen that dirty bow you shoot. You probably don't shoot a tight grip.
Hey,
I brought that bow in here last year, and yeah, he chastised me about it.
Shoot pie plates, man. Pie plates.
I play.
Yeah, I hit a pie plate at 20, son. I'm ready.
That's a dead deer.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Oh, we had a guy come in. Oh, this was early on. I think it was Christmas. Guy comes in and he had dropped his wife off at the doctor, and I think from what it sounded like, he wasn't supposed to go to Mark's because he was like telling the kid to keep his mouth shut because he had his kid with him. So he's
Classic.
he wants to look at a couple of bows. This dude pulls a bow back, and he had a handheld release. Lets the release go. It's a safety release. Oh. But only if you keep a hold of it. Oh, wait. Lets it go. So when he lets it go, the speed knock, the speed knocks that are on that string, a lot of times when you dry fire a bow, those will come flying off. That's one of the things that'll flew off, stuck in his neck. He is bleeding profusely. And he's doing this, and we're like, yeah, dude, you, and he's looking at his son going, don't tell your mother. Don't tell your mother. Don't tell your mother. He had to go to the hospital with a knock sticking in his neck.
Oh, my God.
Oh, I know.
That's bad.
I really wish I knew. I wish she would come in and go, let me tell you a story. I'd love to hear what happened to him, because he wasn't even supposed to be here is what it sounded like.
Man, that's a heck of a way to get busted.
Yeah.
Knocked to the throat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, dude. Release the whole safety release.
Let it go.
Ouch.
Well, I kind of had a guy come in here today. I thought that's what he did. But if you do that, it'll hit the back of the riser.
Yeah, undent it.
Or it'll actually go through. It'll go through sometimes and bust your rest or bust your sight. So I knew he didn't do that. So, a lot of people come in here and they go, you ain't going to believe this. No, I'm not. Just hand me the bow. The biggest one is my cousin. No, your cousin didn't do it. You did it. Just please, just hand me the bow.
So I've got a question, and I've seen this on social media a couple times in the last maybe year or two, where someone goes to draw a bow back, and it draws back, and all of a sudden it locks in place. The cam's locked, but the string goes slack. Mm-hmm. And they put the bow down. What's happening when that goes?
A couple different things. So it'll happen in a bow shop if you forget to put the draw stops back on. And I know that because I've done it. Elites, when you go to change the mod out of an Elite, you have to take the draw stops off and pull the mods off. And then if you don't put them draw stops back on, and it's going to lock. A lot of times, I've seen it happen with bears more than anything else. The draw length is too short for you, and you pull past the draw stop, and now you've locked it up.
Is it a cable stop?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, limb stop, you won't pull past the limb stop, but there's a little cable stop. And a lot of the bears, you can add a limb stop. Most people don't because they feel like it's too hard a back wall. But with the cable stop sometimes, and PSEs, there's different sizes. I had a guy come in the other day and couldn't figure out why it was tearing his strings up. I said, because there's the wrong size string stop on here. You're pulling right over the top of it, and couldn't figure out why it was making a noise and it's not shooting good. Well, that would explain it. So there's so much that can go wrong, and with crossbows, oh my gosh, so much that can go wrong. I've been shooting guns my whole life. I know how to use a crossbow. It's different, guys. It's just different. There's more that can go wrong.
Let's talk about the
good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, of crossbows, but really what I call them, like you're holding a loaded bomb that could blow up.
You got a bomb in your lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a bomb that could blow up at any time. So what crossbow stories do you have?
Oh my gosh. So that's kind of what my channel has become. Trinity Wild was not meant to be, even my first few videos were, look, I don't want to be the crossbow guy. But that's the questions I get. And that's the problems that I see with people coming in. And again, going back to being a martial arts instructor, I'm a teacher at heart. I want to teach. So when I see people struggling, I want to teach them how to do it right. So a lot of times those videos, it may sound like I'm talking to a first grader. I kind of am. I'm talking to someone who really has no idea how to operate something, and let's walk through it. So my videos a lot of times are, hey, if you order this from Amazon and you opened it up, you're going to look at it and go, what the heck? Here's how you build it. It's not hard. It's very simple. This is how it operates. This is what can go bad. I just did a video with like, I don't know, 15 or so things that I see all the time that are bad. The main, again, it goes kind of back to the knock issue. Most of these crossbow companies will tell you that, and I believe 80% of crossbow disasters are owner or user error. So most of the time it has to do with the knock not being seated against the string. So I have a lot of times people will come in, well, this is an old crossbow that somebody gave to me and it blew up. Well, it's because there's no retention spring on it. They don't know. So as you load your crossbow, there's a little spring that holds that bolt down. Or arrow. I have a guy on comments on my channel all the time. He's arguing, it's an arrow. Okay, it's got fletching on it, it's an arrow. Different companies call them different things. We call them a bolt here to keep them separate. Don't put an arrow in your crossbow. Anyway, so there's a reason for that too. So the little spring that pushes the bolt down, if it's not there, if you lean forward, that bolt slides forward. Well, guess what? The string jumps the bolt, you dry fire your crossbow. With a bow, when you dry fire one, and again, let's talk first grader stuff here. What's bad? Why's a dry fire bad? When you pull that bow back or pull that crossbow back, all the power's being stored in the limbs and the cables. String's just along for the ride. There's nothing on the string. You can pull a bow back and take that string and wad it up in your hand. All the power is being stored there. And when you shoot, all that power transfers into the bolt or into the arrow. With no bolt or arrow there, that power's going somewhere. It's going back into limbs, back into the bow. With a bow, 9 times out of 10, if it's at full strength, 70-pound bow, you dry fire it, something's going to break. Cam, limb, string, something's probably going to break. With a crossbow, it's probably 2 things, maybe even 3. That are going to be destroyed. That's what we call catastrophic. And a lot of times with like ravens and different things like that, when that happens, they worry about the riser even being damaged because of all that power that's being stored. Because if that riser is damaged and now it's off, every time you shoot, you've got a ticking time bomb in your lap that could go off at any time. So they want you to send the riser back and get that. And a lot of times they'll send me the whole riser and front end just to be safe.
Dude. Yeah, crossbows make me nervous. I mean, they really do.
Well, you remember where we used to work. We had someone that used to love to grab a crossbow and show somebody this is my favorite. Next morning I come in and that one's laying on the ground with strings hanging off of it. And the funny thing is, it don't take too long to go CSI in the bow shop and go, I know exactly what happened. You did this and didn't do that and this happened. So that's why I say, don't come in and tell me, well, this happened. No, I can see what happened, especially with a crossbow. Well, I didn't. No, you see that where that string is right there? That means you left it cocked. Well, no. Yeah, you did. You left it cocked.
You had a good story about leaving one cocked last time I came in here.
Oh, my gosh.
By a guy in his truck.
I had 3 come in a week that they come in with them cocked. A lot of times, so there's an anti-dry fire, like on the 10 points. A lot of that happens. They go to pull it back, and they don't have their cocking rope set correctly. So they get to this position, and they can't finish, and it hooks up on that anti-dry fire. Because think about your bow. When you let your bow down, what happens? Boom! Mm-hmm. That crossbow will flip you out of a tree. It'll come down so fast. If you go to cock it and don't get it cocked, it'll yank you out of a tree stand. So that little anti-dry fire thing will catch it, but you haven't finished it. It's not fully cocked, and you go to put a bolt in there and it won't fire. You just recock it. You put everything back on there, and you'll hear it click again. But people don't know that, and they come in and they go, "Hey, how long's that been cocked?" Well, I was at home shooting today. Okay, cool. Let me show you what to do. Just recock it if that ever happens again. So we get this guy comes in and says, it's and let me tell you something. I've never seen a crossbow string in worse shape that wasn't blown to pieces. I have no idea how this thing was hanging on. A wing and a prayer. I have no idea. So I look at the guy and I go, how long has this been cocked? He's like, I have no idea. I'm angry now because, well, as I get to talking to the guy, turns out this is not his. And I believe, sometimes I don't believe them when they say it, but this is not his. He's got a guy working for him on his farm, I believe. And he said, well, he can't own a gun. I said, oh, enough said. I understand, but he wants to hunt. So I got him this crossbow, and I said, has he shot it? He's like, well, he says he can he says he can hit a skull can at 80 yards. I said, not with this, he didn't. I said, let me look at it. So I get it, and I defuse the bomb, and the limbs are splintered. The not terribly, but there's a little hair. I mean, if you are looking for a splintered limb, be careful, because you go, is that limb splintered? Oh, well, yeah, that splinter's in my finger now. They hurt. So you be careful looking for splinters. So I go, you know what? I've got some parts. Let me see what I can do. So I ended up doing what I call a Frankenbow, and took pieces off of a bunch of different It's a Killer Instinct, and they're really good about taking care of any kind of defects or anything like that. They're really good customer service. So I said, I'll just pull pieces off of this one and this one and this one. Basically, I built him a brand new bow. And we had some cases that we don't sell anymore. So I got him a case. I got him a handful of arrows, got him a handful of broadheads. And so the guy, all he did was bring it in to get a new string on it. So when he comes in, here's your new string. And he's going to look at this bow and go, what did you, little Clorox wipe and some elbow grease, and I got it looking good. So, we like to, help out some people too. And, I kind of, for some reason, just felt like I wanted to help that guy out. I hope he doesn't come back cocked for 14 weeks.
Yeah, and the limb splintering, that's another issue that you see from time to time. And I've seen, when you're looking for those limb splinters, you ever get like a cotton ball?
Yeah.
And run it up and down? Is that how you typically find them?
Mm-hmm. Well, in here, normally I don't have to. I can see them. Occasionally somebody will come in and go, well, I'm not really sure. Well, I'm pretty sure. Look at that right there. Oh. If you don't know what to look for, you kind of, do that cotton ball trick if you're not sure. The cotton ball thing works really, really well.
And what's the cotton ball trick?
You just take a cotton ball and run down the inside and all around the edges of the limb, and if there's any tiny little splinter, it'll catch it. So it's a good trick.
And that's something you can do at home.
Absolutely.
If you're kind of unsure, maybe you've got an older bow.
Yeah.
Maybe if you dropped out of a tree stand.
You accidentally dry fired it.
Yeah. And then how much does if someone has a splintered limb or something like that with their bow, we had a friend of ours that just had an issue with that while he was out on a hunt out of state. And he's like, I don't really know what to do. What's your recommendation in a situation like that?
Get your backup bow.
I like the way you think.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have a backup bow?
I don't think so. He quit shooting it. And he said, I'm just going to make the next one count. And so he went and hunted with it.
Yeah.
He killed. He did good.
Honestly, most of the limb issues I see, all those the lift limbs, most of those you'd have been fine to shoot once or twice. If you're on a hunt and you see a little bitty splinter, man, send it. Don't shoot it a bunch. Don't go out after lunch shooting at 100 yards and just see, maybe maybe shoot one just to see, because as you shoot it, it's going to get worse and worse, and it's not going to heal. The more you pick it, the worse it's going to get.
You can't slap some duct tape on there?
Yeah, and especially a bow. Crossbow, man, you start seeing splinters, head for the hills.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, worst case scenario, I guess the limb could just go.
Yeah, and so here's the problem too. With a bow, if that limb goes, you're coming to you. With a crossbow, it's all away from you. If it goes, it's going that way 9 times out of 10, because that's where the limbs are being pulled. They're being pulled out and away from you. That's good, unless you got it sitting in your lap, which that might be bad.
Have you seen any bad crossbow injuries from customers?
Oh yeah, missing thumbs.
Really?
Tons of missing thumbs. Now these are normally older guys because when the crossbow first came out, you didn't have all the safety measures. And when they first hit and they became legal in Alabama, I didn't work here then, but I hear stories that they pallet by pallet that they sold those crossbows. So that crossbow, when you at that time was just looked like a gun and with a little rail on top of it. So that's how you'd grab it. You're half asleep sitting in a tree stand and you don't pay attention. Oh, look at there. And you pull it up and you grab it like a gun. Poof! That sounded weird. Where'd my thumb go? I mean, it literally is that fast. They didn't even know they did it. But I've seen a lot of thumbs off. Raven crossbows, they will damage your hand in a heartbeat too when you're decocking them.
Ooh.
Because there's no brake. So there's a little button. You push the little button down and you begin to decock it. If the crank comes out of your hand, you're not going to be able to get your finger off that button quick enough. It's going to come around, break your hand, and break your crossbow. I was talking on Facebook. There was some guys. I was like, this was a few years ago. Talking about, well, it's supposed to be able to decock. Yes, you can decock it, but if you have the option, shoot it. Just shoot it. It doesn't hurt anything. Just shoot it. Yeah, but I've decocked mine a bunch of times. I understand that. And I'm not the bow police. Do what you want. So a guy comes on a few minutes later and says, you need to listen to this man. I was turkey hunting, had my turkey gloves on, and he goes, I've decocked mine literally hundreds of times. I was decocking it. My glove wrapped around that thing. It came out of my hand, whipped around, and he shared a picture.
Oh, no.
Oh, split his thumb straight down the middle.
Oh, my gosh.
And they're like, oh, well, he said, yeah, shoot it. Shoot it. Yeah, it's made to be decocked. Sure. Shoot it.
Oh.
Oh, and the crossbow stuff is well, that's why I get all these people and with a crossbow, it's not like a bow. I go out and shoot my bow 100 shots a day, no problem. You don't do that with a crossbow. It's just not made to do that. You're not going to get those kind of numbers of shots on a crossbow string. It's just not going to happen. Even Raven will say 400 shots. Normally those strings are okay for more than that, but not much more. Because again, how much tension and power is being unleashed every time you shoot that thing.
Yeah. I remember when the Ravens first came out, and we just could not believe.
I had no idea. I was like, what is this? It looks like something Chewbacca jumped out of a Star Wars movie with. That's what I thought. And I, being a guy, I'm like, I ain't looking at the instructions. I'm going to figure this out. It took a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took a while, but I figured it out. And, the Raven kind of revolutionized some things because there's no rail. The bolt floats. When you've got a rail on a crossbow, that affects the string, it affects the cam, and it affects the bolt. Without the rail, that thing floats, so you've got a lot more distance. You got a lot more accuracy at distance. And so then everybody's been chasing Raven ever since.
Yeah. So getting in close to deer season here, for some people, deer season's already started. But for us here in Alabama, we still got about a month to go. What are some things that everybody should be doing getting ready for archery season? Like with their bow, just checklist.
All right. So here's where I want to make you think about things a little differently. When there's a hurricane coming, what do? Do you get ready? You get ready. Mm-hmm. Hunting season's coming, what do? You get ready. Mm-hmm. Why? Why do you have to get ready?
Because you're out of practice.
You're not ready. Don't get ready. Be ready. Stay ready. And now this comes from 40 years of martial arts and 10 years of CrossFit. Don't get ready. Be ready. And I'm going to preach at you a little bit too. Matthew 25, when Jesus is sharing the parable of the 10 virgins. There were 5 foolish and 5 wise. The wise were what? Ready.
Prepared.
The foolish ones were not. Well, I want to be the foolish one. I want to be the wise one. So what I preach to people is stay ready. I don't want to have to get ready. If it's May the 1st and somebody calls me and goes, hey, let's go hog hunting. Wow, man, I got to get ready. Let's go hog hunting. Let's go. But you know why? I'm ready. I got a pack. I got my bow. I've shot my bow. I shot my bow last week. I'm good. Everything is ready. So what I'm going to tell everybody is stay ready. That way, you're not coming in here like you guys just witnessed at 5:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, 5:30 on a Thursday, 5:30 on a Friday, and you want to get in the woods tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock telling me I got to get your stuff fixed. That's not the way to do it. If you stay ready, you're not in here getting ready. But let's go back to the question. I hadn't stayed ready. I'm not ready. I got to get ready. Okay, so you're going to pull your bow out. First thing you're going to do is look at strings. The condition of your strings. Are you waxing your strings? And we're talking bow now. Are you waxing your strings regularly? If you are, you won't see little hairs on them. Did you take care of your bow? Did you have it in a controlled environment, or did you have it hanging in the chicken coop? Because I say that, and because I have people come in here with bows, and I go, where did you get this out of a dumpster? And they expect me to clean it up and make it look good. No, it's not going to happen. This take care of your weapon. This is what's supposed to be taking care of you, right? I'm trying to put dinner on the table with this thing. If I let it go to pot and I don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of me. Now you're stuck going to the grocery store. Well, what happens when the zombies come and there ain't no grocery store? You got to get out there and you got to feel. What do you do now? When the zombies come, you gonna get ready? No, it's too late. You got to be ready. Now, I always use the zombie example because what's the worst thing that could happen? Zombies, I guess. So if I'm prepared for zombies, I think I'm good with everything else. Well, it's just like teaching CrossFit. Coach, why do we got to climb this rope? Because zombies can't. Shut up. Climb that rope. But yeah, if you just stay ready, you're going to be fine. But keep your bow to where you're prepared. Don't leave it in an area that you're going to come back to it 6 months from now and go, oh, wow, my limbs have broken. Don't leave your crossbow cocked, for heaven's sakes. Because, I mean, that sounds silly. And most of the guys that are listening to this podcast right now are going, well, yeah, what idiot? Who would do that? People do it. All these things that you think, who would do that? I'm telling you. The reason I'm telling you this is because I saw it probably today or yesterday. Save yourself some time, because when you do something like that, you're not staying ready. You come in here and you got an issue. I got to keep it for 2 or 3 weeks while I wait for a string, while I wait for a cam, while I wait for the limbs. Checking those kind of things will keep you out of the shop and in the woods, and that's what we want to do. So staying ready, not just your equipment, but your bowstring. Check your cams, check your cable. One of the things I like to do is, and with a crossbow too, is just kind of bang on it. Hold it and take your hand and bang on it. Listen for a rattle. Something rattles, something's loose. Tighten that up, especially with a crossbow. Every 10, 20 shots, check, make sure all your screws are tight, because boom, there's just so much shock every time you shoot that crossbow. Things rattle loose on it. So check those things. Check your mod screws. Check your rest. I mean, have you ever? I've had this happen. You draw back and you go to shoot, and your sight goes punk. Well, why'd that happen? I didn't check it. Well, it's just supposed to be. Well, I didn't stay ready. Now I got to get ready. Now I got to go back and fix this. Stay ready. If you stay ready, you've got that checklist that you're always on top of. You're always shooting your bow. And I think physically and mentally, you got to stay ready too. Physically, shoot your bow. Now, as we get, so if you're physically fit, okay, I'm physically fit and I'm training. I'm going to train different when it comes time. Okay, it's getting ready for Colorado. I'm ready, but I want to get readier. Going to Colorado is different than hunting in Georgia. You know, you still got mountains, but Colorado is it's a different deal. I mean, you guys been out west, you know, there's really no getting ready for it. But if you don't prepare, you're going to be really sad. But getting ready, your knives, your flashlights, all that kind of stuff that has to stay ready. Is your knife sharp, or did you just get done gutting that deer at the end of January and throw your crap in a bag, and now here it is October and it's time to hunt and you got to go and, well, I got to clean up all my knives. I got to sharpen my knives. Why? They should have been ready already. When you put yourself in that pinch position, not only do you put yourself in that position, but you put me in a position of trying to get you ready. I'm a guy that I want to help. I want to get you ready. Now, that's a different deal when somebody comes in and says, man, I was shooting Tuesday. I was shooting this morning and, something just happened. My mod screw came off or something happened. Okay, I'm going to do everything I can do to help you get ready for this. But when your lack of preparedness does not constitute an emergency on my part. Break that down.
It also brings up, what is y'all's workflow? Most of Alabama doesn't come in bow season, come into October 15th. There's small sections open in October 1st. What, over the last 2 or 3 years, what is like your workload as you get closer to October and in that first week or so of October?
Yeah, so, through the spring, it's a little bit of this, selling new bows mostly. A lot of guys coming to get new bows. In June, it's so funny. I tell Morgan, my new girl here that started in June, watch and see what happens to the phones. I mean, the phones crank up and we go from 1 or 2 calls a day to 10 a day. And they seem to be really goofy calls early on. 4th of July, that's when the dam busts open. Everybody starts coming in, and that's when I need a new string, I need a new bow, I need a new rest, I need some more arrows. All that kind of stuff begins happening. Then probably mid-August is when the bowstrings. I need a string, I need a string, I need a string, I need a string. Now we've been doing strings all year. You come in August, and by this point now, my string builder, who doesn't just build strings for me, builds strings for 15, 16 shops now. He's up at 3 o'clock in the morning building strings to make sure I can get strings on stuff between 2 and 3 weeks. Go try to order a bowstring right now. Get online and order a bowstring. You're going to be a while. Why? Whose fault is that? You waited too long. Well, man, mine gave out today. Okay. If you had been ready, if you had been shooting in March and April and May, that thing would have give out back in May. You'd have been in here and you'd have had a bow back in your hands by the 4th of July and you'd be fine. See what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Stay ready. Don't open your case the 1st of September and go, well, I guess I got to get ready. It's too late. It's too late because now you're going to come in here, you're going to shoot your bow and go, well, something's wrong. And then you're going to come in and I'm going to go, you need a new string. You're way out of spec, so you need a new string. I can do what I can do, but I can tune it. It's not going to stay tuned. You're out of spec. You need a new string. How long is that going to take? Dude, it's September, 2 or 3 weeks. What? You can't just do that today? What would you like me to do? No, I can't just do that today. I wish there was a way that we could get strings ahead, but with all the colors and the custom things like that, not to mention the 50,000 bows there are, and every one is different string lengths and different cable configurations and the 2-track binary cam, and you got the yoke twist and all that kind of stuff. There's just no way to build a bunch of strings and go, all right, come get them. You just don't know. So yeah, you're going to be 2 or 3 weeks, and that's if I kind of skip a day off every now and then. If I don't skip a day off every now and then, I'll never get them all done.
When someone can look at their bowstring, how do you know that it's ready to be replaced, as opposed to just normal kind of wear string breaking in?
Yeah, you can look at a couple things. Look at the open string. You've got string and you've got serving, right? Serving protects the string. So look at the string. You got the little hairs coming off of it. There are times when you can just put a little bowstring wax on there and clean that right up. What is the word that my wife uses on a sweater? Pilling. Mm-hmm. You'll sometimes, when that string begins pilling, that you can't put wax on it, and there's not little bitty bumps and knots, and it looks like moles growing on your string. It's too late now. End loops. Look at your end loops. Make sure they're nice and tidy. Make sure where so you'll got it on your cam. You'll have your end loop, and it makes a turn. Right where that turn begins to come off onto the string, you'll begin to see that serving separate. like a single cam bow, the string, it actually oscillates. So if you look, you got your cam and you've got your string, not your string, but the bus cable that comes down, and it's sitting next to the cam, and you'll see it really beaten up. That's okay as long as it's not cut, because when your serving gets cut, now your string's going to get cut. Your string is vulnerable and it's going to get cut. So, and another thing you can do is if you want to do it yourself, you know your bow, right? Max out the limb bolts, screw them all the way in, lay it down with the shelf side up, and take your tape measure and measure axle to axle. You should be within maybe 1/8 of an inch of what your bow should be axle and axle. Now, make sure you check that a little bit, because like a Hoyt will say this is 29.5 when it's actually 29.25, but they didn't like the way that sounded, so they called it 29.5, or they called it 29. Okay, so you just look and make sure, again, know your equipment, and you'll be able to take care of that. But if it's out of spec, now it's probably going to be time to get a new string. Your D-loop, make sure, check that, because that can wear. And if your D-loop is worn in a certain spot, now go check your release. Take a Q-tip, use the cotton ball thing again, run inside your release and make sure it's not catching on anything. Because if there's a little burr there, it can clip that D-loop, and that's a bad day.
Yep, seen a lot of those.
Mm-hmm.
Seen a lot of busted D-loops.
Yep.
Yeah,
I've got a D-loop collection. You would not believe. I can't find anywhere on YouTube somebody showed somebody how to do a half hitch and a wraparound and some dental floss. You wouldn't believe. So I've got probably, I don't know how many I've probably got, that when they look super glue. Oh my goodness. The glue I see people put on a D-loop or on their string. Like, you understand that glue now has destroyed your string. The chemicals don't work together, so you need new string now. Well, I didn't do that. little gnomes came in and crawled in your bow case and put glue in there. Just own it. Yeah, I put glue on it. Okay, good. Just be honest. I'll fix it. I'm going to make fun of you, but I'm going to fix it. Yeah, but the D-loops are, you wouldn't believe some of the D-loops I get in here. It's quite, I clip them off and put them in a bag.
You're going to have it start like a D-loop trophy board.
Yeah, one of those little shadow boxes. So I'm waiting to get
yeah.
a few more. I'll have me a D-loop shadow box.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
When it comes to guys trying to tune their bows, get their broadheads to hit where their field tips hit, what are the most common issues that you see where someone just can't quite get their bow in tune?
Well, I think it kind of goes back again, and some people are not going to like this, that when I was first learning how to tune bows, and I would get the bow tuned and then shoot it through paper. Now that's, and again, shooting through paper is not the holy grail of bow tuning. Okay, there's all kind of stuff. That's just a place to start. So I shoot it through paper, and I've got it shooting bullet holes, and I hand it to you, and you shoot it, and now I get a 2-inch tear. And then I shoot it and I get a bullet hole. Well, what is that? That's you. That's you torquing the bow. How you grip the bow, that's how you connect with the bow. That's your connection with the bow. That's got to be, I mean, if there's anything that can go wrong, that can go wrong. You've got to have that riser in the hard part of your hand, pushing the bow away, and then your release is how you connect your mind with the bow. If your brain is you're not confident in your anchor, in your release, and people come in here and go, this release is kind of messing with me a little bit. Grab it, throw it in the trash, get you another one. Because if you can't trust that release, your connection between your mind and your bow is gone. So there's a lot of things that you can do as far as tuning. Nowadays, most companies have given you that ability to tune a bow. So, and again, with tuning a broadhead, I've gotten to the point I don't really chase that much. My bow is tuned, meaning my string is behind that arrow, period. It's behind the arrow and it's shooting good. If I start moving my rest around to tune and make that broadhead fly correctly, the arrow's doing this. What happens every time it does this? Power is leaking. Every wiggle, power leaks. That's why a lot of people that shoot a bow and, I'm hitting right where I'm aiming and I'm not getting pass-throughs. that's probably why the bow is not tuned correctly, or you're torquing the bow and it's wiggling, and every wiggle, power, it's just leaking out into the universe. I want it all going into the target. So I want my string behind my arrow, period. If I get, and now again, let's talk about the fixed blade broadhead. If my fixed blade broadhead at 20 yards is hitting an inch high and an inch right, I'm good with that. 6 inches, I'm not. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to get another broadhead. I'm not going to shoot that one. Now, we like to turkey hunt. We can all shoot the same shotgun, same shell. Might not shoot the same, right? Your bow's the same way. Your bow may like how you shoot. And when somebody on YouTube tells you, oh, you're going elk hunting? Well, you need a 500 grain arrow with a 300 spine. You don't know that. You don't know that. He may be right. When you need the FOC, the FOC.
Yeah, you're jumping into some questions that we had listeners write in.
I'm telling you that. So, look, I'm old. Okay, I'm 61 years old. I ain't got time to chase all that mess anymore. Does it work? Sure. I'll just give you my preaching about the arrows. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull a Carbon Express out and I'm going to cut it at 29.5 inches and I'm going to go kill deer. That's what I do. I'm not busting lifesavers at 50 yards to make a living. If that was my job, you betcha, I'd be FOCing and I'd be doing all that stuff. But even for people that are big names, which I won't mention, don't give a rip about FOC. Us normal guys here, FOC should probably be number 15 on a list of 10 things that are important. Honestly, it's just I'm not good enough. I tune bows, I shoot bows. I'm not a competitive archer. That's not what I do. You get to the point where that's your job. Yes. What's the FOC? What's all those kind of things. What is my bow like? Your bow may like something different than my bow likes. Do you cut your arrow to the burger hole? Or do you cut your arrow to the front of the riser? That's completely up to you. Are you a better archer than me because you cut yours back to the burger hole and I don't? Let's count dead deer. Let's count dead deer. Who's going to whack them and stack them? I don't want to be a professional arrow builder. I like hunting. I like being in the woods. I like shooting my bow. If I wanted to be a professional arrow builder, I'd do all that stuff. And hey, I'm not knocking people that want to do it. I got a grandbaby. I got a dog. I got a wife. I like to read. I like to do a lot of different things. And to me, at 50 yards, I go cut this Carbon Express. At 50 yards, I'm probably there. Now, I'm going to spend 8, 9, 10 hours tinkering. Do I want a 3-fletch? Do I want a 4-fletch? 2-degree right helical, 3-degree left helical. Let me shoot it out of my bow and clock and see, and that's the way. So I've spent 10 hours to go from here to here. To me, is this worth 10 hours of my life? To me, it's not. To you? Maybe it is. So please don't get mad at me. I'm not telling you you're stupid for doing all this arrow stuff. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't misunderstand me, because I have a lot of guys that come in here that love to talk arrows, and that's awesome. I like to talk hunting. I like to talk, where did you go? Let me see. Did you save me the heart like I told you to? So the arrow questions, again, there's so much information out there.
So I do want to, just because we're on this, I want to ask, we had a listener write this question in.
Yeah.
And it's on arrows, but I want to get your thoughts on it. And he's just really asking, why are so many people switching to what he calls a butcher blade, 700 grain arrow, 180 feet per second? He's exaggerating, but like these super heavy, slow moving arrows, fixed blades, single bevel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it just hype on social media and stuff like that, or anything else? I mean, what kind of questions do you get from guys coming in and asking about that?
Yeah, I think, again, you've got so many opinions out there. And my opinion is based on what works for me. That guy on YouTube you're watching that's telling you that, his opinion is based on what's worked for him. Is that wrong? No. But is that going to work for everybody? No. This guy likes a Matthews. This guy likes a Hoyt. I can't shoot a Matthews. I can't shoot a Hoyt. I shoot an Elite. There's a reason that there's so many bow companies. There's a reason there's 50,000 different kind of arrows. And look at the broadheads over here. There's a reason for that. Everybody, I tell you, know what the best broadhead is? The one you look at and you go, oh, shoot that one. The one that you look at and you would go, I can't imagine getting hit with that. Shoot that one. Because your confidence is like, that's going to really do some damage. Shoot that. And for me, if it doesn't fly well, I'm not shooting that one. Whether it opens and does all kind of, doesn't matter. If it doesn't fly good, I'm not going to do it. Because again, I know my bow's tuned. If that thing doesn't fly well, I'm just going to start again. Now, I'm lucky enough. A lot of these companies go, here, try this, try this, try this. But the average guy, I mean, you start trying to shoot a fixed blade broadhead and, you know, you're $200 in by the time you find one that flies good. That's a lot, you know? But so one of the things that's I can't remember the guy's name. It's a doctor years ago that did a lot of research on this heavy front end, heavy big single bevel broadhead thing. The problem with that, again, if that's what works for you, great. But the problem with it is that guy was doing work with a recurve. These compound bows are so efficient. Again, confidence is key. What do I shoot that I know doggone good and well is going to make a hole that's going to drain that thing enough that I'm going to be able to pick him up on this side of the creek? That's what I'm going to shoot. And if you're confident with a 600 grain setup, more power to you. I'm confident with a 400 grain setup because I know if I guess my distance a little bit wrong, I'm still okay. If I got a 650 grain arrow and I guess 5 yards wrong, that arrow's hitting the dirt. And I'm eating Lunchables instead of heart.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up, too, about trying to tune up a broadhead, moving your rest around, and having your arrow wiggling or whatever, you know, kicking out to the left or the right. That buck I shot in Kansas last year, I shot him at 8 yards with a brand new sever, 70 pounds out of my bow, and it did not pass through, and I didn't touch a bone. Right between the ribs.
Yeah.
The only bone I touched was it went between the ribs and the blades kicked out and caught the ribs. Yeah. But the middle of that center punch right between two ribs, 8 yards didn't pass through. It poked a hole in the other side. And I'm like, well, maybe that's why. I don't know.
Could be. But the world's an imperfect place. Every elk I've ever killed has been with the heaviest arrow I shot was a 410 grain arrow. Now, you know, I'm not whacking and stacking elk, but I've killed enough of them. Blew through every one but one with a Muzzy 3-blade. You know those 6-packs of Muzzies?
Oh, yeah.
I killed every one with that. And a Carbon Express arrow at 410 grains. The only one I didn't blow through it was a cow, hit and stuck in the other side of the shoulder. The second arrow went right through. Never found it. So you just don't know. Every broadhead over there we'll get them. Every broadhead over there will miss them. You know, I'm not into catch and release. I want to find one that works.
Interesting. I want to get into a couple questions that got written in on Instagram. Kind of made a little post on Instagram.
Yeah, cool.
And one guy, he just wrote a question. He said he just got his very first bow this year.
Awesome.
And he's struggling getting his field tips and broadheads to match.
Right.
He doesn't get any insight on mechanicals or fixed blade broadheads or anything like that.
Okay.
I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but for people in that circumstance, because you'd be surprised how many people are new to deer hunting and bow hunting that listen to the podcast or watch the show. So,
and that's the guy or girl that I really focus on, is that new guy. If your broadheads and field points are not matching, chances are your bow's not tuned. That's probably what's going on. Now, what do you do about that? You're new to it. You don't have a bow press. Depending on what kind of bow you've got, my best advice is to find a good reputable bow shop that you can go to, and get that person to tune your bow for you. If it's say like it's a Bear package bow, most of those when they come out of the box, if you go to a big box store and grab that off the shelf, it comes off the shelf just like it came out of the box. A lot of times they don't take the time to do all the setup, and if you do that, the D-loop's not tied very tight. The peep is put in there so it will move. The rest is never centered. So if you don't know any of that, you're slinging arrows, and you could shoot you could be shooting a field point and be okay. So I would definitely. I've got a couple. There's plenty of videos out there. I've got a video that shows you how to set up a bow like that on my channel that you can go and look at. There's a little kid, because it's really set up for, hey, I just got my kid a bow. What do I do with it now? And it's got a little kid on there that you can look at that, and it'll show you. It won't matter if it's a kid or an adult. The bow sets up the same, and it just kind of walks you through those few things that you could look at, and that might help.
Now, also, we hear this all the time about, go find a reputable bow shop and get a bow tech, kind of look at your bow. What are qualifications for you for what you would call reputable, and how can someone figure that out?
Well, sometimes by the time you figure it out, it's too late. Your bow's already messed up. So it's just an example today. I had a guy showing me a picture of a bow. He was looking at a used bow. He says, well, look at this. I went, yeah, it's a helium. He says, what do you think of it? I said, it's got a Z7 cam on it. He said, what does that mean? I said, that's not the cam that goes on that bow. Is somebody trying to sell you that? He's like, well, yeah. I went, what? He goes, well, they said they said it had Z7 cam on it. That's right. I went, I know that's right. I see it. Why would they do that? Oh, they said they do it all the time. What? Okay. I can't for the life of me figure out why that would be a thing you would do. So that bow shop I would stay away from. People that over promise and under deliver. I think that's something that I try to not be that guy. And you're going to go in and have people that I think one of the things is somebody who is not willing to go. I don't know, but I know who does know. Let me find out. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, and there's very few things that come in here that I've not seen before. But there are occasions when I have no problem looking at someone and going, you know what? I don't know, but I guarantee I'll figure it out. So I think that attitude in somebody who's going to work on your bow is good. But you'll know pretty quick when you get somebody that's good and somebody that's not.
I got a question, a video question from Scott Thompson.
Okay.
He's a longtime listener of ours, and it has to do with lighted nocks.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Scott Thompson here from Northeast Texas. Been listening to the podcast since 2020, and man, can't thank y'all enough for everything I've learned over the years. Man, I've had a huge light bulb moment recently with lighted nocks. And what I mean by that here is if we look at the paper here from my Paper Tuner 5000 in my garage, these three bottom holes are shot with Easton X nock in the back of my 5mm Axis arrow. Bullet holes for the most part, middle one maybe torqued a little bit. Top three were shot with a nocturnal lighted nock, and you can see there's variations in the hole. And a few weeks ago, I had shot with I tried some cheap Amazon nocks, just try those out, and I was getting a consistent tail high tear. I think a lot of that has to do with what John Dudley of Nock On mentioned in some posts recently, and he was talking about nock fit. So you can see with the X nock between my nock sets, I've got about a mil of play where I tied those nock sets like Dudley recommends. You put on the nocturnal, there's no play. So when you come back to full draw, you're getting nock pinch, right? And so I think it's just been an eye-opener to me, because I think a lot of people go through this tuning process and get everything dialed in, shooting bolt holes with a regular plastic knock, and then hunting season comes around and they go, I'm going to shoot lighted nocks. And it's truly not tuned. That arrow is not coming off shooting a bullet hole like you may think. So again, just kind of an eye-opener. Was wondering if you could maybe expand on that, or if that's something you've talked about with folks over the years, as far as the cautions on if you do shoot lighted nocks and still making sure that you're in tune.
So there's a lot of people that have questions about those lighted nocks, and the problem is they're all different, and your X knock may not be the same as the lighted knock. He's absolutely right. Now what he's doing, he's tying a soft knock high and low. I just tie with the one soft knock, but if that knock is too big and you get knock pinch, what that means is when you draw your bow, it causes your arrow to float up off of the rest. So you're going to get, he said he was getting consistently high tears. Typically, you're going to get very inconsistent tears when that thing floats up. But that's one of the things, again, you got to check. Don't think every knock is not the same. There are micro knocks and the X knock and all those lighted knocks are different too. Like he said, the Amazon knock, good luck with consistency and having it work. Now, I have had people that get them and they work great, but most of the people that I see that get those cheap knockoff Amazon knocks, it never goes well. But and like the nocturnals, I mean, heck, try them out. I just had, and that's all I sell. Well, we started selling the halos too, but the G knocks, every one of them won't work. So I come out of the back yesterday, and there's like 9 packs of G knocks laying on the table. None of them will work. We get to looking, and inside there was like some corrosion or something that was in that knock. Not a single one of them would turn on. So what if you get that pack of knocks? You get 2 packs of knocks, and you head to Colorado and you slap those knocks on there, expect a pretty little green light to come on as you shoot towards your animal, and you see nothing. Got to test it out. So this guy is on top of his game in that, what is he doing? He's ready. He's not going to have to wait till he goes to the woods and try to figure out how to fix this. It's an easy fix. Where your soft knocks are, you just remove those and retie them. So a lot of people do. I just do that one soft knock, and that does keep that knock pinch from happening. 2 soft knocks, I think again, for me, it just kind of pulls the arrow a little bit, but it doesn't make a big enough difference to really, it's what you're confident in. And I've become real confident with that single soft knock. But yeah, he's on point.
Another thing I wanted to ask you earlier that I forgot about on the subject of tuning, you were mentioning how a lot of people have an issue with their grip. Mm-hmm. And I've been relearning that a little bit. Mm-hmm. I told you I've been shooting that recurve bow a whole bunch. Like the mechanics are different, trying to make sure you're aligned in the right way. And I just switched an arrow setup with that. And it's I'm trying to get it dialed in, and this new setup that I'm shooting is much less forgiving when it comes to the tuning. Yeah. And so I'm trying to get that figured out right now, but it kind of just popped it back into my head. When it comes to compound shooters, maybe that's not even something they were necessarily aware of. Mm-hmm. What's the best way for them to get a solid foundation and a really good starting point to make sure that your form is not what's messing you up? Because when you're trying to fix your tuning and you think it's something with the bow, but it's actually your form, it gets very confusing and aggravating very quickly.
Very quickly. So again, your connection with your bow is your grip. It's important that your grip, that riser is in the hard part of your hand. So if you think about it, and I see people do this all the time. Here, take this bow. You're a guy, and that's what we do. We grab it. And you notice where my elbow is? My elbow is down. That's incorrect. My hand is straight. That's incorrect, because that bow is sitting in the mush. Mush is bad. Mush is bad for accuracy. I want it in the hard part. So as I push that bow away, I want to think about it like if I said, hey, y'all, come here and help me push this. Your elbow goes out. May not know that, but it does. It does it without you thinking about it, because your mind knows I've got to brace. I got to push something, and my elbow goes out. So look what that does to my wrist. It gets it out of the way. Anytime you're shooting, especially if you're having trouble with your tuning, and you're hitting that forearm, you're gripping the bow wrong. Back here. And So it's changed a little bit with some of the newer models, especially the Matthews bows. You used to shoot that low wrist grip, that low wrist position. These new bows like it up in the throat a little bit more, but I want the hard part of my hand connecting with the riser. And if you can see, my knuckles are kind of 35 degrees or so. Let them fingers fall. Don't grab the bow. Nice and loose, nice and easy, and just let those fingers fall. I see a lot of, you'll notice target archers will have a little bump, a little dot on the front of their little recurve bow, and it's for that middle finger to touch so they come to the same place every single time. I know the guy that runs our shooting staff for us, Patrick, he teaches people to put those two fingers together. For me, it just works to just let them fall, and my middle finger just kind of falls to the front of the riser. But then that's the key there, is stacking those joints on top of each other, because that's the way you're braced. And see what that does, how that just moves that forearm out of the way, and you'll never, ever, ever hit that thing.
So if you're slapping your forearm, you're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. But when we started shooting a bow, you just pulled it back and shot it, right? We all did that. But now you look at, you got YouTube, so you've got every guy out there trying. And, I love John Dudley. That if you're going to find somebody to teach you how to shoot a bow, just take that one guy. There's a whole lot of opinions out there. I think that guy he's a good communicator, he's a good teacher, and the way he lays things out is very practical. So if you're looking for somebody to teach you and follow, I think he's the one to do it. But you've got a lot of people that are doing a lot of different things. And for me, what's so strange is my whole life doing martial arts, doing CrossFit, what's that all about? It's technique. And I'm such a technique snob. And it never occurred to me that my bow shooting in archery might be technique too. And I had somebody actually show me, this is the technique, this is the proper way. And I went from, being okay to, hey, I'm pretty good at this. But it's not that I got better, it's somebody taught me how to do it right. Because like I said, so many of us, we got a bow and we just pull it back and let it go. Especially for me, how did it not occur to me that technique might matter? I just thankful it finally did.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And then do you recommend like blind bail shooting or something like that?
Very much. Very much.
Is that something that'll help you with your grip and everything? Just making sure that your grip...
Standing from me to you. Mm-hmm. Close your eyes. Shoot the bow. Feel it. Shoot the bow. Be confident. Shoot the bow. Shoot the bow. Shoot the bow. I'm shooting 100 times a day with my eyes closed throughout the summer, from me to you.
What is blind bail shooting, by the way?
There's no target. It's just a block, and that's all I'm shooting at. Because when you shoot at a deer, there ain't no dots on him, unless maybe you shooting a coup deer that has little dots on them.
The fallow deer?
The fallow deer, yeah, or, spotted fawns or something, so. Y'all ain't them guys, are you?
Oh, I've killed one.
Well,
it was on accident, by the way, but yes.
It wasn't like a spotted fawn. It is
there's a spot.
Lost him. If you brush the hair backwards, you kind of see him in there.
Well, I think
little bitty doe.
And let's go back, that goes back again to getting ready. Get ready the way it's going to happen. How's it going to happen? Are you gonna be standing up big and tall and drawing and shooting, and the 20th shot's the one no. You're gonna be sitting in a tree stand freezing your geeky off and have to sit. Oh, he's right there, and I gotta lean forward and I gotta draw and I gotta shoot. Did you practice that shot? Did you practice sitting down? Did you practice on one knee? Did you practice after you ran a half a mile, did 20 burpees, 10 box jumps, 10 kettlebell swings, and then shot your bow? Did you do that? Because if you're going to Colorado and you're elk hunting, that's what's going to happen. Your heart's going to be coming out of your chest, not just because you're nervous, but because you can't breathe, because there's no air, and you've been chasing the wapiti all over the Rockies, and now and you've never made that shot before. You didn't get ready. You ain't ready. If you're not ready for that shot, you're going to miss. All that time, all that effort, all that driving. You took time off of work. You paid however much for that hunt, and you blew it because you didn't get ready.
You didn't stay ready.
Yeah, you didn't stay ready. You got to stay ready, be ready. Be ready for what's going to happen, that shot from your knee. Walk out your door in the morning when it's cold, grab your bow and take a shot and get in your car and go to work. That's how that's going to happen. It's going to be that one shot, sitting down. I went to Kansas years ago, and what they made you do, they made you shoot. We want to see that you can shoot. We don't want you wounding our deer. So we all stood up on a platform and we shot. He goes, well, we got a bunch of ground blinds, so we want you to sit down and shoot. And this guy went, I've never shot sitting down. And this guy's not a new hunter. I said, you got to be kidding me. You've never sat down and shot your bow? Dude, I've laid down and shot my bow. And when I was little, I'd try to hang from my knees and shoot upside down. I don't recommend that. Because that's probably not going to happen, shouldn't happen, but practice it the way it's going to happen. Because, and again, this goes back to CrossFit stuff. Be prepared for the unknown and unknowable. You better think of as many things you can possibly think of, and you still won't have every scenario in mind. But practice every scenario you can think of.
You said this, I got to know. How do you shoot a bow laying down?
Well, you got to be on a picnic table. You can't do it on the ground. I did it from a picnic table. Did not do it well.
I saw, is it Dan Fitzgerald, I think? Yeah, Dan Fitzgerald.
That's my era there.
No, well, they posted some video, and he was talking about how he shot an antelope one time with his compound laying down on the ground.
Doesn't surprise me.
Grass was short.
Doesn't surprise me. Probably wearing blue jeans and a plaid jacket.
Yeah. So got a couple other questions here.
Okay.
From a couple other listeners. I like this one, and this is very opinionated for you. Kind of give your opinion on it. What is a good broadhead setup and arrow weight for most southeastern whitetails?
So again, I'm not a heavy arrow guy. I'm a 400 grains is what I'm shooting. So the broadheads that I shot for years were solids. And again, I've kind of changed my opinion on this. I've always been, I don't shoot mechanicals. That's just one more thing that can go wrong. But the mechanicals that are out today, they really do work well. We see very few failures and that kind of thing. So southeastern whitetails, again, I'm talking 400 grains, 410 grains. There's no need in no 550, 600. And for me, I want speed. I want fast, flat shooting arrows. I'm hunting out of a saddle. I don't go 20 feet in the air. I'm about 12 or 15 feet. Why? So I'm under the canopy. I got more shots. I got longer shots. If I've got longer shots, I'm gonna need more speed, because if I guess that distance wrong, I'm going to be more likely to miss with a heavier arrow. 400 grains is plenty for whitetail. My broadheads that I'm going to use this year, I'm going to try out the Beast. I've had a ton of good responses from those. That was one last year I couldn't get, and I've had so many people ask about them. So I want to shoot them just to see how well they work. The number 2 one is that T2, that G5 T2. I really want to give that a try. But the fixed blade I'm shooting right now is the Tulu, which is out of Nashville. And really, I got them just because I like those guys. They are awesome. I love their thought process. I love what they do. The Tulu broadhead is a single bevel broadhead with a right helical built into it. And for me, again, it is, does that fixed blade broadhead fly close enough to my field point that I don't have to mess with anything? I shot it out of a 450 foot per second crossbow just to see, because what I tell people all the time, you can shoot a fixed blade out of a crossbow, but again, you got to try different ones. It's usually better to shoot a mechanical. With a fixed blade broadhead, anything over 350 feet per second, you're going to struggle with planing. I shot that thing at 450 feet per second at about 27 yards and pulled it out of the same hole the field point made. I said, okay, I'm sold. Now, I have had a few people come buy them, and because they're a little pricey, they come in and go, hey, man, these things are not shooting right. Let me see your bow. Bow wasn't tuned. Well, how's that? My field points are hitting great. They're going to hit better now because your bow's tuned. I fixed it. So, yeah, I think for southeastern whitetails, I just don't see the reason. I don't see the need in the big heavy thing. But it really comes down to what you're confident with. You know, what can you hit the target with? And then what broadhead did you kill them with last year? Why do we all want to change?
Well, and this is something that I don't think gets necessarily talked about enough. And it depends if you're hunting like a food plot or a field versus in the woods. But the whole thing of, you've mentioned multiple times about if you misguess range. Mm-hmm. A lot of times where we're hunting, all of us down here, you're not watching deer for a long period of time before you get to shoot them, so you don't get a chance to kind of like sit there with a rangefinder and range.
Yeah.
They come in, you hear them before you see them sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they're there and then they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you're in the timber like that, you got to be able to fine tune and figure out, roughly what do you think he's at or what that deer is at based on what you had ranged previously maybe. And make an educated decision. And I feel like that's what you're talking about, especially with that 400 grain arrow.
And that's probably what you guys are talking about too, is I'm gonna range that tree, that tree, range that tree. But then what if I forget? You ever looked at a 4-pin sight and thought you were on the 30-yard pin, turns out you was on the 40-yard pin, shot 10 foot over her back? Well, yeah, we make mistakes, we forget. Ever happened? It happened to me.
Yeah.
You forget. So you range as many targets as you can, and if you guess wrong, the faster and flatter that arrow's flying, the more likely you're still going to make a good hit.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then also one of the last questions, it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on this. The guy asked, "What is the best rest on the market?"
Again, that's personal preference. Now, here's what I'm going to say. QAD, great rest. The MX2 is what I put on most bows in here. There was a period. There are periods of time where I have issues with them. Now, here's the thing. QAD, they just say, give them another one. QAD customer service, outstanding. I don't even call. Hey, this rest is messed up. Grab you another one. I'll put it on, and I'll put that QAD in a box. And when I talk to QAD, they'll go, yeah, you got 3 to send back. I send 3 back. They send me 3 more. However, I use a Hamskea Epsilon. Why do I use that? Because it doesn't have any choice but to work. I've had, and I'm sure you guys have had it too, I've had guys come in here and say, I drew down on a deer, and when I shot, the rest didn't drop. Why? Again, I don't know. That Hamskea's limb driven. It doesn't have a choice. It must drop. Other reason is with a MX2 with a QAD with just a regular cable driven rest. The rest drops sooner but drops slower. With a limb driven rest, it stays up longer but drops faster. So I've got that arrow sitting in the right position longer, and when it drops quicker, as opposed to the cable driven that drops sooner but drops slower. See what I'm saying? That's my personal opinion. What rest is best? The one that you shoot well and the one that you're confident with.
I want to throw a curveball at you just because I'm curious. I just saw a guy online, Tim Gilligan, I think, Gillahan, out west, and on his hunting bow, he's shooting an Overdraw, which I haven't seen somebody shoot. I started with the Overdraw. Can you still buy an Overdraw? Are there companies making them?
I would not be surprised if somebody isn't. Problem with an Overdraw. When you cut that arrow back behind your grip, anything you do incorrectly is magnified. So whatever you do wrong is going to be way more wrong. So if you're going to shoot an Overdraw, you better have a solid grip.
I thought you were going to say something about shooting your hand.
That could happen too.
Just weld a piece of
like a little shield.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wear a gauntlet.
I've seen that too. I got some pretty dastardly pictures of people that I say that all the time in here is, God doesn't know how long his arrow is. I go, well, we can cut it too long. Too long's okay. Too short, not okay.
You're gonna have problems.
I actually speak about that. Just want to touch on. I shot. Remember those NAP. Not the Kill Zone. What was that piston-driven mechanical?
I got a guy I have to order those for occasionally. That's just what he had. He just loves them. People love whatever broadhead they love. Yeah. I'll get it for you.
Well, I can't remember the name of those.
I know what you're talking about, though.
But anyways, I had some of those, and dude, there was this one. I had this doe come in. I was like, oh, I'm about to smoke this thing. I drew back on her. The arrow popped off. popped off the knock, popped off the string. And I'm like, what the? And I knock it back. I lower it back down, knock it back. I did it 3 times on this doe while she was feeding around this oak before she walked off. Actually, she ended up busting me. And I didn't know what was going on. And I shot him before because I shot him at targets. Well, I had done something, and that broadhead, I had my arrows cut a little bit too short, and they had
the
long sweeping
riser.
blades, and it would hit that riser, pop right off.
Yep.
And I'm so glad I was focused enough to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because I'd draw back, and all of a sudden, the arrow would be kicked up. Knock me down, and I was like, what's going on? And anyways, that was kind of going back to cutting arrows.
Ramcats used to do that every now and then.
Yes, my brother had
Ramcat
ramcats.
used to do
Yeah,
that.
you cut them too short, get those long sweeping blades, hit that riser, and off it is. I bet you quite a few dry fires come from that. Paying attention.
Yeah, because you freak out. You go, "Wah!" and you just hit the button and it's over. Just hope that arrow goes somewhere else.
I got some other questions, but I don't want to be here for another 45 minutes. What is your thoughts on people looking at, especially newer archers, newer bow hunters, getting into archery, picking a thumb release or a wrist strap release? What is the thoughts there on why someone would pick one over the other?
So, again, this is my opinion. Eventually, if you're serious about this, you're going to go to a thumb. So why not start with a thumb? That would be the prevailing thought. If you've never shot a bow and I put a thumb release in your hand, you're going to punch yourself in the face. You're going to launch an arrow goodness knows where. That's what's going to happen. Learning with a trigger is a little easier, I believe. Now, I think at some point you're going to want to go to a thumb release. Again, the guy that runs our shooting staff, he has brand new guys all the time, and he sends them up here to get a thumb release. But he taught them how to use it. When I decided to go to a thumb release, it took me a year. It took me a year. Why? Because I was stubborn. Because I said, I'm going to make this work just like my trigger. And then I had a coach actually help me, and he goes, why are you doing that? I said, well, I've just got it in my head that I want to make this thing work just like my trigger works. He said, then go shoot a trigger. I'm trying to show you how a thumb's going to work better. So what did the thumb release do for me? I shoot 6 arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm always getting that flyer. Now I can shoot 100 arrows, and I might have 2 flyers out of that 100. Why, I don't know. But that thumb release kept me more consistent, and I didn't get that bow palsy and end up accidentally hitting the thing. But yeah, so I think eventually you will go to a thumb. You will want to go to a thumb button. I think people that are new, I've had several guys come in here that are new that, again, all they've done is watch YouTube and they start asking me about back tension. I go, just stop right there. Wait a minute, Hoss. I'd be teaching jujitsu and I go, okay, we're gonna learn how to shrimp out today. Yeah, but I want to learn the Peruvian necktie. No, buddy. Let's learn how to get out from under somebody before you start doing all that. Let's just learn how to shoot the bow and enjoy the whole thing of pulling back and watching the arrow go and all that kind of fun stuff before you start thinking about all that other foolishness. Yeah,
you want to talk about getting punched in the face, those back tension releases.
In a hurry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when we first got those at the old bow shop, dude.
And
a lot of bloody noses.
Nobody knew what they were.
No.
They're like, what is it?
Oh my gosh. Mark, you got a lot of this stuff on your YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. So what you have?
I was going to add one last thing, and then we're going to do that and wrap up.
Okay.
I want you to end us before we're going to talk about your YouTube channel for a second. Do you have one more good funny story? Maybe a wholesome story, or I don't know. It could be whatever.
Oh my God.
Something real cringy.
It's from the bow shop.
This is not wholesome.
Okay, great.
Good.
Great. I didn't mean that.
Actually, I told Andrew, I was kind of telling him this the other day, and I said, I'm not telling you. I'm going to save this one.
Oh, this is the one?
Let me tell you something. So, crossbows are the bane of my existence. But that's what's all on my channel because that's the questions I get. And that's the problems we have. And I've had, so many questions and so many. No, don't do that. Let me show you. Guy comes in. God bless him. Kind of quiet. Had his wife with him. So he comes in here and he's asking me about crossbows. So my questions are, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a crossbow guy, or you're just adding this to your arsenal of weapons to go to the woods with. No, I don't hunt, but I think I want to start. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. So if you don't have a lot of time, a bow is good, but if you don't have a lot of time, crossbow's good because you get good at it, and by this afternoon you could go be in the woods. Well, I don't know. What about so he's asking me just general crossbow questions, and he's get this kind of strange look on his face. So as I'm talking to him about the dangers, this can happen. You're going to blow to pieces. And he looked at me kind of strange. I don't think about sometimes, I say that it's going to blow to pieces. I say that so many times. I don't think about what normal people might think that means. And he looked at that crossbow and he goes, this? I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, if you don't do, you do whatever, and you'll blow it to pieces. Is there gas involved? I said, sir, is there gas involved? You said blow it up. Oh, and it hit me. I'm telling him blow to pieces. He thinks it's got gas in it and it's going to blow up.
How'd you respond to that?
I'd get out. No, I didn't.
You at a check station or check counter, service counter.
No, I was like, this is why when I do videos about crossbows that I sometimes sound like I'm talking to a first grader, because there are people, God bless him, he just doesn't know. And he's walking into a crossbow world that he has no idea what's going on. So I felt bad but my first inclination was, please tell me you don't own a gun. Please tell me you didn't drive here. Tell me your wife drove you, because I can't be out on the street with you. I can't. But then the more I thought about it, the more like, no, he just doesn't know. And the verbiage that we use, we don't think about people hearing it differently than we hear it. So, yeah, that's been the best. That rang the bell. That rang the bell for this year for sure.
Oh my goodness, dude. The never-ending fun stories of working in retail.
Yeah. Take the retail part out. The rest of it I love. The retail, having to work in the holidays and all day and all that kind of stuff, because we joke around about working here at Mark's Indoors. If you work here, you don't get to go outdoors. You're always in here helping everybody else get outdoors.
Yeah. Well, man, y'all do a great job. This, like I said, this is like a landmark for Birmingham. It's been here forever.
Been here a long time. 1980, I believe, was when Mark Whitlock opened it.
Yeah. Like I said, always recommend getting out there to a local bow shop.
Yes.
This one, if you live in Central Alabama, this is the one you should come to.
We appreciate it.
If you don't live in Central Alabama, you can use Mossy Oak. Actually did a new thing where they got support your local bow shop. You can actually go on there. It's like a directory, so you can type in your location. It'll give you a local pro shop.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Should be a reputable pro shop. So, but anyways, man, we really appreciate you guys. And by the way, I got you a new stack of stickers. Southern Outdoorsmen stickers.
I need a sticker, because I tell these little kids that come in here all the time, if you want to learn about hunting, if you want to learn not just about hunting, but about what deer do and don't do, and the science behind what we're doing here, this is the podcast you need to listen to. If you're not doing it now, you need to do it. Go subscribe and listen, because these guys. Go back to the beginning, they came to me and they said, Mr. Mark, would you listen to our podcast? Because we did the first episode. So I got to listen to the first episode. Hey, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
It was worse than bad.
And I can't remember, but I know it was Jacob, because again, I've traveled around and teaching people how to teach and communicate and all that kind of stuff. So listening to it, there was a tick, and I can't remember what it was. It seemed like Jacob had a
and again. And again.
That was it. That was it.
And again.
That was it. Because, you have people that do the, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and it was, and again. It's like, wow, you got to work on that. But now, I tell people all the time, you guys do such a great job of, number one, you have great guests, present company excluded. You have great guests on. You ask great questions, and now it's come. A lot of them come from your listeners. So these people that are part of your part of something that you've built here, not just a podcast or a YouTube channel. This is a community. Like people talk about this all the time. You guys have done a phenomenal job of building that community, and you do a great job of interacting, and you get great guests with great stuff. You ask great probing questions, and then you just shut up and let them talk. And I just think y'all do such a good job. And anybody who's trying to get into this or learn this, and they watch you and they come to me and they go, I feel like those guys are my next door neighbors. I said, exactly. That's exactly how they come across. So God bless y'all, and you doing such a great job. And I'm so proud that I got to be there in the beginning. It just makes bust my buttons.
I appreciate that, man. Now, your YouTube channel, let's talk about that for a second.
Okay. Trinity Wild. We just had our second birthday.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
September 6th was my second YouTube birthday. But the thing is, we talked about it a long time. You did it.
Yep.
I just thought about it, and I was, you guys punched fear in the face and went out there and did it. And I sat there going, I really wish I could do that. And I think finally I was watching, I had the TV on up here, and I was watching some YouTube, and there was a guy, and I've watched him 100 times, and for some reason it just clicked one day. The dude's out in the woods. He's doing bushcraft. He's building a fort. He's got his dog. It's about an hour-long show. He's in the woods with his dog building a fort. That's his job, for heaven's sakes. I want that. My goodness. How cool is that? To be able to do what you love to do, and what a great job. And there you are. Guys are doing it.
Yep.
It's awesome. It's just awesome.
So, what is the main, if you were to boil it down, do you do any hunting content on your channel, or is it all archery stuff?
It's archery stuff. Mostly gear reviews. A lot of it has been crossbow stuff, just teaching people this is how to use your crossbow, or doing reviews of a crossbow, of a bow. I did one with some broadhead reviews and things like that. So in my mind, I wanted it to be a little more bushcrafty, outdoorsy kind of thing. But I've just kind of, I went through a course, and one of the things that they talked about was answer simple questions. So that's what I did. I went to see the people that did what I know, which is archery, and I looked at the questions people were asking, and nobody was answering them. I said, well, there's a video, and I would write that down. There's a video, I would write that down. And so I think that's kind of where it has gone. I'm toying with the idea of doing another channel that I can do a little more Christian content, kind of stories and wisdom and things like that. So hopefully that'll work out. But yeah, Trinity Wild has I took it from Trinity CrossFit. When I sold my CrossFit gym, I said, I'm keeping Trinity because I'm going to need that again. And now here it is. It's just Trinity Wild. And that's one of the things I say is let's get outside and get wild. And I used to, at the end of it, go turn your computer off and get outside and get wild. YouTube don't like that. YouTube wants you to stay on YouTube. They don't want you to go outside. I want you to go outside and get ready. If you're not ready, get ready and then stay ready.
Man, I love it. We're going to link it down in the show notes so everyone
Awesome.
can go find it.
Awesome.
Everyone should go subscribe to it.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Hit the bell, baby.
Hit the bell for notification.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were telling me the other day you had some interesting videos planned. So
Oh, yeah.
so
Well, if I ever finish it,
yeah. There's going to be some good stuff on there. So everyone go check out Trinity Wild.
that's it.
And Jacob, you got anything else?
No, appreciate Mark for letting us come down here.
Oh, thank you.
Shout out to Mark's Outdoors for letting us film here.
Mark's Outdoors. Yeah, Mark's probably in the office. I think he was doing, what did he say he was doing?
He's working the engraver.
Oh, yeah, he's engraving knives. So,
Engraving
yeah,
knives, late at night.
Late
baby.
at night. Yeah, he's not normally here this late. So shout out to Mark.
But yeah, if y'all haven't stayed ready, you're not ready yet, you can come see Mark and give Mark a hard
And
hard
get
time.
ready. And once you get ready, stay ready.
That's
the key.
right. Oh, and come get you a Southern Outdoorsman sticker. for
Absolutely.
free here at Mark's Outdoors.
There you go.
Yep. So appreciate everybody watching the podcast. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you back here on the next episode from the Southern Outdoorsman. And remember, guys, y'all stay Southern.